This is Master Your Mindset with Coach Mark.
Hey guys, what is going on? My people, welcome back to another Monday episode. And today is all about time. Really what I wanted to do is I wanted to put together a podcast so that I can help save you a ton of time so you can stop giving away your most valuable resource and actually create more by doing less. That's a powerful concept that I teach a lot in all the programs that I teach, even in the Ideal Leader Blueprint is how could you create more by doing less? Can I just tell you how much more it helps when you actually can go out there and by doing less, actually improve the speed and the direction that you're going. It's kind of like if you have a flat tire, really going out there and fixing that flat tire is what you need to do to get you to actually get to that end point where you really can make the biggest impact that you want to make. And that's what I want to do for you guys today is I want to share how to actually get through that, because there's a lot of things that we do, me included, that actually slows down this process. And we don't realize that we actually have the handcuffs on the process. And once we do, it kind of releases us from actually doing those things that are causing us to slow down. I can't tell you how freeing it is to know that actually taking things off your plate and doing less can actually create more. But literally, not only is my life proof that that's possible, but the thousands of other leaders that I've helped coach through this, taking things off their plate actually helps them increase not only the results, but the impact that they make. And that's really why I want to talk about today. Now, really, it's going to be based off of this idea that thinking that you can figure this out on your own is really the worst use of your time and energy. Now, I can see why you might think that that's not the case. With the fact that, we think about money, when we think about ego, when we think about I should be able to do this on our own, it gives us this false sense of security that actually we'll get to the results either eventually or over time, and we'll be able to save a lot when we do get there. But I want you to think about this, all right? Have you ever tried to do things on your own? You try to create something, you try to have success in a specific area, and you try this for so long, and later you realize that it wasn't until you started to get help from somebody else, maybe somebody who'd been there before, maybe somebody who had a few different ideas or suggestions, and you really wish that you had done that sooner. I know for me, that is something that whenever I think about the areas that I focused on when it comes to my health, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to my business, it was the process of me thinking that I could figure it out on my own and not going out there and finding people who could actually speed up the process for me. So if you can keep thinking this way, that the best way for you to do it is on your own, trying to figure it out, you're actually going to slow down your entire process here. One of the things that I think about, especially when it comes to my business, is the faster that I can learn and develop those skills, the more earning potential I have in the future. The faster I can develop skills around my relationships, the more amazing relationships I can have sooner for the rest of my life. The faster that I can really focus on and grow around my health, the more I'm going to feel amazing and high energy for the rest of my life. And so I don't want to wait until I'm 70 or 80 to be able to develop those skills on my own. I really want to find out how might I accomplish more by either doing less or finding somebody who is out there who can help me identify what to stop doing, and then also help me reframe it by finding things that I can do. Now, I want to let you know, this process is not just about removing things off your plate. Removing things off your plate is that first step, right? But really diving in and saying, okay, what are some of the things that actually matter more that I either should be doing or that I can be doing? I don't like that word should, that I could do to actually speed up this process, but also take some of those 80% activities where you're putting in all of this time and energy and effort and you're not really seeing any results from it, okay? Now, I really want to share 3 different questions that I really want you to focus on around this idea of how to create more, how to connect more, how to speed up this process for you, instead of being focused on the lack, I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough people that I know that have succeeded in this area. I want to reframe it by asking you questions, because that's really what it's all about, is asking ourselves powerful questions, all right? Now, this first question is, how much faster could it be if I reached out to someone who had done this before? So how much quicker would it be if I reached out to somebody who's actually been able to accomplish this before? Now, here's the thing, what most people do is they focus on the lack. They focus on, well, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't know anybody, I don't have any experience in this area. And basically what you do is once you program your brain with those kind of questions, it's more of hey, well, I really don't know anybody. Who are you going to ask? Who am I to ask? Who is it that could help me with this? When you focus on like lack, like, oh, I just don't know anybody in this area, you actually will, your brain will go out there and it will prove that that is true all the time, because you will find evidence that you really don't know anybody, or that you don't have the time, you don't have the money to invest in this. But if you ask yourself a really powerful question, is like, how quickly will this speed up that process when I find someone? It basically gives you now, it's based off of your heart voice, like you're going to go out there and you're going to find the evidence for this, but you're also going to be able to be open to the people who could help you. Because if you have this constant thought in your mind, well, I just don't have enough time or energy to do this, you kind of shut the door from the potential of finding people who can actually create more in less time. That's what I was doing for years, is I was shutting the door, and I thought that I was on a personal growth journey, but I didn't realize that I could actually speed that process up by finding somebody who actually could speed the process up because they've gotten what it is that I wanted to achieve before, right? So instead, I want you to focus on the possibilities by asking yourself that question, like, how quickly, how much faster will it be when I find somebody who's done this before? Question number 2 is, what impact would that make on my family, on those I serve, and myself? So what kind of impact will it make if I go out there and find that person who's going to be able to speed up this process? What kind of impact is that going to make on myself, on my family, in the world? A lot of times I like to think of this in terms of, I want to be able to develop this skill so that I'm young enough to actually be able to implement it for the long term, because that's really what we're in. We're in this long-term game, right? And I mean, this quote really sticks in my head a lot. It's like, your outward success is a reflection of your inner growth. Josh Coates, one of my early on mentors and still mentor to today, reminded me that in order for me to like actually attain these things on the outside, I had to focus on me growing on the inside. The faster that you can grow as a person, as a business owner, as a father, as a mother, as whatever, as a police officer, the more that you're going to be able to have results on the outside. And it's always an inside game. So really just asking yourself that question of like, okay, when I do this, what kind of impact is this going to have on me, on my family, and the world? Now, the third question is, who is someone I could reach out to today and ask for help? And how could I actually model this behavior to those I'm leading? So for me personally, when I ask myself a question, I make it purpose-based, meaning that it's not just serving me, but it's actually serving other people. So whenever I ask myself a tough question, I always add in something that connects it to the impact that I'm making by taking that action. So for this one is like, who is somebody that I could reach out to today that I might feel a little uncomfortable doing, but also how can I use the fact that I did that anyway as a way to like really connect to other people by actually modeling the behavior that I want them to follow. As a leader, we do want people who we are leading to get uncomfortable, to get out of their comfort zone, to take actions. For me personally, I want people to go out there and to find the mentors, to find the books, to find the podcast, to find the things that they can really lean into and learn and develop and grow. If I'm not doing that myself, I cannot expect that of other people. So anytime that like I'm putting together a new course, anytime that I'm putting together a new mastermind, anytime that I'm writing a new book, I'm constantly doing those things on the other end because I would feel like a hypocrite if I was out there not taking those actions. And so what I can do is I can reframe it by asking myself that question of like, okay, who's somebody that I could reach out to that might be uncomfortable? And how can I use just the fact that I'm reaching out as a way to model the behavior for others and to tell other people about it? What's crazy is the fact that you're feeling uncomfortable to do that, the fact that you have this limiting belief, maybe that you don't have the time or you don't have the money or you don't have the energy or you've got too much stuff on your plate. I hear that all the time, guys. I've got too much stuff on my plate. And I'm like, well, why don't you take some stuff off so that you can actually make sure that your plate has that food that you actually do want to be on there, right? Instead of just piling more on top, it just makes it like a mush, kind of like garbage. Well, how about if you have too much stuff on your plate and this is an important part of that growth process for you, that you remove some of the other stuff, get a new plate, and really be able to start over by really identifying what is actually the most important, all right? So questions are so powerful, guys. I want to go over these one more time for you because here's the thing. And if you kind of haven't heard, the reason why I put this podcast together is because I want you to start getting uncomfortable. I want you to start going out there and finding people who can help you. I want to speed up this process. I want you to make more of an impact. I want you to make more money. I want you to have better relationships. I want you to do all of these things, but the tactics, the skills, the actual things to do, even though they are important, the most important piece is getting yourself to take action. And if one of these questions will help you to go out there and to take action, I promise you, once you do that thing, you're going to speed up that process of growth. And in the end, you're going to be like, that was the thing that I needed to do. So finding the questions that fuel you to take the actions that you know that you want to take because it's in alignment with your goals and it's in alignment with your core values That's really what I want to do for you guys. All right. So the first question is, how much faster would it be if I reached out to someone who has done this before? How much faster would it be if I reached out to someone who has done this before? Second one is, what kind of impact will this make on my family, on myself, and for those I lead? And the last one is, who is someone that I could reach out to for help? And how can I use this as a way to model the behavior to others who might be in that same exact situation? All right. So ask yourself one of those questions, all of the questions if you want, but the one that really does fuel you. Okay. All right. The next thing is, what you do after these questions is you make a decision and you act. All right. You make a decision and act. So if you're trying to grow in a specific area, you find somebody who's actually been able to succeed in that area or is on a few steps ahead of you, and really make a decision and act. Realize how much of an impact this will make on you and your family and the world, and then make a decision whether this is for you or not. I can't make that decision, only you can, and you know in your heart of hearts whether or not this is true or not, but it will not help you if you're constantly in searching, and you never decisively act. So once you program your brain with these questions, make a decision, and I promise you, even if that thing doesn't turn out the way that you want it to, you will be better off because you did it. All right? All right, guys. Quote to end this podcast is, the best coaches and leaders don't need to know it all before they can start helping others achieve their goals. So the best leaders and coaches don't need to have experienced it all, know it all, have every skill, be perfect. None of these things are true if they actually want to make an impact in the world, because it's really about what we talked about today, is asking powerful questions, guiding people to taking those actions. And we don't have to have experienced that ourselves in order to be able to help other people do that. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye, everybody.